The WWC, what the world is watching.
Are you rushing to get the headquarters 30 and them T10 troops? QB's going to tell you to pump the brakes. Let's get into it.
600 plus days of last war grinding, battle spawn, lessons learned, strategies mastered. When we talk, you level up. Welcome to the Warzone Wrecking Crew.
Welcome everybody to the WWC QB18 here, and today is the day you've been wanting. It is when we talk about power. What that tech power can do. Well, before we jump in to the actual tech center and show where that power is, let's first take a look at any battle report that you have. Let's look here for a battle report and just go over real quick. On every battle report, you will have your little tech readout, and then you're going to have your breakdown. And we've talked about that you can click on these categories and then click on research, and it's going to bring you in to the resource branches. So what I want to do is walk through some of these that are going to actually add that tech power to make the difference. Okay, so let's jump in now to our tech center and take a look at where we're going to go. On our first series, we talked about how we want to up as much of the economy as we can to produce that coin and resources in our base from our tech center. We're also going to go down and do all our speed ups and everything else we talked about. Now is the time we want to go and touch on our power battle tech. The one I do not want you to do is touch on this garage one yet. I believe I talked about it in the first series. I don't want you to talk about or jump on and completing this squad one quite yet, and I will get into why. If you have already, it's okay. It's the easy tech to push through. It's usually what people start with. And within it, by the way, in the garage, while we're looking at it, let's talk about where you will see on the tech report. You will see right in the beginning of the top. This appears in the tech report, which is an attack of 5%. This will be in your tech report, which boosts the defense. This survival training is in your tech reports, it's 5%. Then you'd have to come down here and see these four right here, which is fierce assault, vigilant, final stand, and physical suppression. These are all in your tech report. If you attack or somebody attacks your base, they will see in the defensive portion, you would have these, which is counter defense, your solid defense, and hold the line. Those are also in the battle report if somebody attacks your base. The other two that will appear in every battle report is physical suppression for boosting your physical damage, and your energy damage for your energy barrage is 5% here. So these also appear. So there are good things to take in the garage, but I don't want you to complete it yet because there's something more important in order to build out. I'm here to teach you how to build responsibly and to be the strongest you can over a period of time. I'm not here to teach you how to be unbeatable in 1 week or 2 weeks, or beat a whale, or beat somebody that's spending a lot of money on your team. This is for free to play and low spender right now that I'm going to speak to. Free to play and low spender, it's incredibly important that you do not worry about what the next person is doing. Don't worry about what your team is doing. Don't worry about your chat. Don't worry where anybody shares their progress and they say, oh my God, I just got my T10 troops and we're only a month in. Don't worry about that. That's not you. That's not where you're going to go. And I don't want you to try to get your power there. What I'm going to want you to do is get your power right now. We're going to talk about when you start the game out and you finish your development and economy, you're moving into two main spots. That's going to be hero, and that's going to be units. Units is an easier thing to push than hero, but hero has massive amount of power in it because we have to progress through the branches in order to get there. There is a massive amount of power also in units. However, the smart play is to uncover the major power later on because of the expense that it will take. Here in Hero, what we can do is we want to first focus on these top four. You're going to be tank. Now, as I've said, and my recommendation to any player playing the game when you're first starting out is push your tank. And don't stop pushing your tank until you get to day 1700 of playing the game. Just keep pushing the tank because that's the way the game sets it up. They throw a bunch of distractions in the way that give you air and then tell you there's a 10% buff and people start beating your air. You go to switch to air and all that happens is a big trick, because then missile comes along and then the big people end up spending money and getting missile, and then that only beats your air. When in reality, you could have been beating those a bit, at least withstanding some of the beating from those bigger people, because tank counters missile. So if you had just stayed where you were, you could have countered the ultimate goal, which was missile, which you have the counter for. So what I will say is the least resistance from point A to point B is to just go with tank. There's nothing wrong with tank. It's very powerful, and you'll be just fine if you continue from day one through. And then you can pick your second team, whatever it is. I will not tell you whether it's air or missile. You cannot go wrong. But please stay with tank. That's what I would recommend. And that will also give you a boost to go through this hero tree, which is why I'm bringing it up. So tank is the first thing that comes. It's also, this is only 5% a piece, okay? And so the big increase comes in the second branch. So after you finish these, you would have to do the bare minimum to push through these branches to get to the second branch of tank where I want you. And these are all 10%. So that is what you would focus on with your hero branch. Our ultimate goal, which is going to take you much longer and you won't be able to push through, but it is your ultimate goal with this hero, and that is to come down and get the final 4, which is an additional 10% boost for not only your first team, but every team that you have. But ultimately, you want it for your first team, and you want the additional 10% boost, which is incredibly huge for all the categories. But we are back here. Let's keep our training wheels on and say, while you are pushing through this branch of hero, I also want you to complete units. You'd be able to make it much farther in units, and you should, because there's a lot of good tech here. But you want to create to be able to complete 3 at a time. You want to do the unit attack, you want to do the unit defense, and then you want to do unit hit points. You do not want to complete this load training. This is just about plundering and being able to increase the load capacity for the units. It has nothing to do with power. So you don't want to complete it, because we're here talking about power. So you complete your bare minimum, and then you move down, and again, you do the next branch, right? And we do that for 3 branches, because 3 branches are where it's 5%. It's going to be 5% for this, 5% each for these, and 5% each for those, all appearing in the tech report. Then it's going to start to increase, because these are 7.5%, but incredibly pricey. So you want to take a step back. It's going to be a hard time to complete them. And these second 3 are probably completing alongside with your hero branch, where you're trying to complete your second tank here. And then you're on your bottom 4 down here. So hero and units is where you're going to push. Remember, I said we're not completing the Garage 1 yet, and that is still for a reason. At this point, as you're completing these, we start to get into a Valor conversation. Now, Valor conversations are going to be, people say, do I want to complete, let's say, hero, or do I want to complete my special forces? You're not going to have to make that choice here. What I'm going to do is give you a game plan that during the week, you will be pushing your hero and units. The only day that you're going to push things like special forces in Alliance Duel is on the 3rd day of Versus, because that is where you're going to push Valor. Valor is going to increase your Versus points by a lot and make sure that you're able to push your Versus team. Now, before we continue, the reason why I'm going to come back to this Garage 1, I said do not push. I'm also going to recommend, as a side note here, don't push your mines necessarily to higher levels right in the beginning. Hold off for a minute, and I'll tell you why. And I know that would be counterintuitive to why I said to increase your economy, but there's a reason why I want you to hold off on these buildings and hold off on the garage. I asked you to get into the top alliance. You want to get into at least the number 2 alliance on your server, and it's incredibly important because what we're going to get into as we talk about alliance, duel, or special forces, or even down in these hero branches units, you need to have a lot of resources. This gets into those people that are pushing along, that are whale and they're strong and they have money and they're spending it. They're also spending it on resources. Don't let them fool you. If you reach out and you say, oh my God, where did you get all the resources? And they just said, oh, I was just collecting. No, they weren't just collecting. They're spending money. They're getting it. And they may not want to tell you because they don't want you to know how much money they're spending, but they're spending money on the resources. And what I don't want you to have to do is spend money on the resource, and there's really no need. When you're a free-to-play and a low spender, if we're going to spend our money, we should be spending it to push our power. Pushing our power is not pushing our resources. Paying for resources is really just paying because we have no patience. It's not using our money to our advantage in last war to get stronger. So when we're going to have plenty of resources as we progress in the game if we go about it responsibly. Okay? Now, being in the top alliance, like I suggested, it's going to allow you to get things like gifts. And the gifts are enormous. I have not been in here. There were 132 rallies that were run. Actually, I think it was like 164 rallies that were run while I was last on a couple hours ago. So the team has been busy going. And when I go to collect, I'm going to be getting all of these rewards from just their rallies that they're running. If you're in a small, quiet alliance where nobody is on, they're not running a ton of rallies while you're gone. You're probably getting a handful, as opposed to a busy alliance is running them all day long, giving you, so your money is just coming in. All these resources are just pumping in while you're not even playing. In addition, the big ticket items are coming in through the premium tab, where you're able to get, in this case, there were already 10 that were done that when I was gone, and now I'm getting, diamonds. But as you start out in this game, you start getting more resources. Resources and speed ups are the key to where we're going to progress. In order to get these gifts and get these alliance points, it all ties back in because we need to stay in the alliance. And the only way you're going to be able to stay in the alliance is if you're able to score good versus points. And you want to be able to score those versus points that the team supports you and stays in there. On building day, this is a cheap ticket item to not use a lot of your resources and not lose a lot of your speed ups. So if you're able to push all of your mines over here, so that you can get all these resources, push them on your build versus day. That'll allow you to hit your target for your versus and make your team know that you're participating. Big thing on the tech day is to push your Valor only on the right day, which is the tech day. You're going to push the Valor. The rest of the time is spent on units and hero. Now, what you're going to see everybody do and tell you to do, the game doesn't tell you to do this because there is no guide. So this advice only comes as it's passed down, and people are so power hungry. They come into special forces. They want to use their Valor early, and they want to get down to T10. Oftentimes you'll see guides online, and people will tell you the shortcut to get down to the T10s, and it's like 4-1. What there's a million guides out there that show you what it is. If you don't know, please ask. I'll tell you what the shortcut trail is for that to get to the bottom of special forces. However, I don't want you to do that. This is rushing to get T10s. We can talk about T10s. They're 1 million power boost to every squad. So that's what you're fighting for. That is what you're tripping yourself over for. That is what everybody's in a rush to get. The problem is the amount of resources to get these T10s is incredibly expensive. And you either have to buy resources or completely stop your progress everywhere else on your base just to push the T10 gold and everything you need. Why? Why do that? There is no need. And that's the case that I'm going to make for you. I can't promise you that you're going to be able to beat the strongest people on your server because it's not true. But the T10s are not going to help you do that either. The T10s are only giving people a boost of 1 million per squad. The people that are spending money to get them are also spending money to get drone parts and different aspects of the game that you're not. So if you're hoping to catch them by just a magical T10, you will not. But what I can do is help you build responsibly. So those people that are rushing to get T10s, you will actually be stronger than if they're free to play and low spender if you follow more this path and guide. What I would recommend that you do is really focus on, like, yes, you can get these 3 here and get them, I believe it's to 4, can move to the next thing. But this advanced protection is 15%. It is in your tech report, and it's incredibly powerful. I would not be skipping over it. I would be completing it. There's a reason why it's sitting here and glimmering. Like, it's very powerful. And the same goes for morale. You don't want to just do the bare minimum of morale. You want to complete this morale. It's worth 25%. It's a huge boost to your power. And it's also in your tech report. Don't skip it just to get T10s. I'd rather have you go slower and complete these things with your Valor before you rush off. The same as you move down for this one in advanced protection. It's the second part of the other one that was 15%. This is just going to make it 30. And again, these are in your tech report and incredibly powerful. So instead of just rushing down to get T10s, complete these things first in your special forces. Okay? That's to get power. Before you even get here, though, I can't advise you to just rush down to special forces, because the number one priority that you should be doing prior to power grabbing is really your alliance duel. In order to advance in your tech and get all this power, you need to be able to complete your this alliance duel for 2 reasons. 1, remember, we need to stay in that top alliance. And in order to stay in that top alliance, or the second top alliance, you need to be able to push those versus points for people to know you're valuable. These categories are all going to push those versus points through the roof and allow you less stress to hit that versus target. And that versus target is going to become 7.2 million, because your number one goal here before you start special training is to open this, which this unlocks a tier of a 7, 8, and 9 rewards. These boxes are incredibly valuable to your progress, not only overall, but certainly in tech as we move forward, because it's going to make you stronger in how I'm building your base. I need you to build other things than just tech in order to be powerful. And so we're going to work on power tech, and you're going to have enough resources while we work on this power tech to build your squad out, to build your other aspects of your base, so you can be a well-rounded strength, not just rushing to headquarters 30 and then getting T10s where you are what we always called an empty 30. An empty 30 means that you rushed to get T10, so you completed all the minimum requirements. You didn't have enough resources to build anything else. You're not strong at all. And actually, a level headquarters 27 can beat you at headquarters 30 if they were strong the way that I'm suggesting you to build. That's right. I said that if you build this way and you are smart out, the people that are rushing to get to those T10s and have these empty 30 bases that are free to play players alongside you, you will actually be able to beat them. And there's a lot of them out there, I can assure you, of these empty 30s, of people that don't take the time to build properly and just rush because they think that T10s is the ultimate goal of this game. And it's not. So I would say this is your priority to open up these chests. Once you do, it's then going to allow you to get those advanced points and also help by chipping away with this squad 1. So this is where your main power is right now, where you can chip away at that using your Valor on Alliance Duel, and you can be chipping away at hero and units. That is the responsible way to build. And really, as you go in and you start completing these things, you'll be able to tell. What I want you to look at in your report is not take a guide of what everybody tells you to build. What I want you to do is understand how you're building and what you're building your base for and your tech. Should I complete this? Should I complete that? You should be able to answer that. One of the things I want you to look at and pay attention to in your tech report, and I want you to be able to do this on your own, is to go look at all the things that are building. These top 3 things are on their own, which is boost physical damage, which you can get in the garage as we complete this. You'll also see that the second one that I'm going to show you is in this, which is energy barrage. And that's this one, the boost energy. So these are both located in your garage. Your unit bonus is in your units right here, or your special training that we talked about. Remember how important I said that these things were? They already show up right in the third part of this report where you see reduced damage taken is 30%. That's right in the unit. That's right in the special forces. That has nothing to do with T10s that everybody tells you to skip over. Well, if you're just getting the minimum of this, you could be getting 30% unit bonus in every single tech report. These are all just separated in the million different ways that you can have your tank defense, your tank offense, your tank hit points, and your damage boost. Same goes for air and same goes for missile. What I want you to build out and focus on, though, is anything that's hit point related. Also, anything that's damage boost related. Why? Because as you build out hit points and as you build out damage boost, that is actually used when you either attack or you defend. You're using the hit points in both areas. As opposed to when you build attack things, it's only used when you attack. And when you build defense, it's only used when you defend. However, hit points is going to be used on both cases, as is your hero damage boost. So I would really focus on building out these hit points before I would necessarily do attack defense. A lot of times these things are hooked together. It's just a way that you can make up your mind when you're looking at things and saying, do I want to pick this one or that one? I would always choose hit points because it's used on both attack and defense. So I like hit points. It's also something that is valuable in deco that people look at purple deco and say isn't valuable, but they're hit point boosting. Hit point boosting, again, is boosting on both sides of the aisle here. For defense and offense. So I love to boost hit points. Now, as you move down and you start seeing some of these other boosts that come along with this, this is going to get into that morale and into the attack boost. So the morale boost that's located is in the same place that I told you, in the 25%. So far in this tech report, we've looked at not anything that's related to T10s. We've looked at three things in the special forces, as I told you, this, and this, that are all in your tech report. So it's incredibly important to learn how to build properly in these and what you want to do based on what is going to be in your tech report. Okay, so that's what I would say as your third part of what I want you to focus on. It's going to take a long time to do this. This is not going to be easy, and it's going to take you a lot of time. And until you have it built out, I would not be focusing on any other Valor items. I wouldn't be skipping. I wouldn't be going to siege. I wouldn't be going to defense. I wouldn't be worrying about anything else on here until I am completing all of these top hero things here. They should have this completed. I should be already working on here. I should be then having my unit stuff completed here, which is non-Valor. And while I'm completing my non-Valor tech, right, what are you doing? You're completing your Alliance Duel and then focusing on Special Forces, not necessarily the T10s. Okay, so that's what I want you to do from a third-part series. That is going to take you a long ways out as we move forward. As a part of this tech series, what I'm also going to bring you is one of the big blockers that you're going to have, and that's gold. I'm going to give you a straight video on coming up in this series on how to get gold, period. All the different ways that we can possibly do it, how we should collect, and all the things that we should be doing and moving forward. All right? With that, I'm going to end this series here. Please let me know your comments. Please join us in the Discord. Subscribe. Hope you enjoyed it. QB18